Hey, Funketeers, Soul Patrollers. This is your boy Bob Davis, and welcome aboard. We're here tonight. We have a very special guest, but we got to take care of a few pieces of business before we get into our special guest. Um, First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Number one. Number two, um, want to let you know that this is actually the first broadcast that we've done in more than a few months. So I want to thank you for hanging in there with us. I had to return to a few of my health issues came back, but I'm much better now, and hopefully you will think so as well. Before we get into our guests for tonight, what I want to do is let you know that we have some other upcoming shows. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have the great jazz and soul artist. You know her from Incognito. You know her from her solo work. She's now an independent artist. I just saw her at the Wilmington, Delaware Jazz Festival over the summer. She was great. Um, the wonderful Mesa. We're going to have her in here in a couple of weeks, and you'll find out more about that in the next few days up on the site, and you'll be able to register and all of that good stuff. And we got some other people that are going to be coming up. We got some authors, and we got some filmmakers, and we got some people that you don't know but you need to know that'll be coming up in here also. So we got that coming. So I wanted to let you know uh, that. Um, so besides that, what I wanted to do was to introduce you or reintroduce you to our sponsor. So Mike is producing again tonight. Can you pull up our commercial for our sponsor? There it is, bizblack.info.
Hi, I'm Wendell Weatherspoon, owner of www.bizblack.info, a free to use black business portal designed solely to increase the turnover of black dollars within the black community. I didn't know just doesn't cut it anymore. Through a keyword or category search, we work to, within seconds, provide motivated buyers, not surfers, the names, locations, websites, and more of black businesses, professionals, and organizations. Visit us today and bookmark www.bizblack.info.
So Mickey, you probably don't know anything about that business, but we're very unusual here on Soul Patrol. First of all, we're 100% black owned, and when we say black owned, we that means we own uh, the content that you see on the website, but we also own and manage all of the underlying infrastructure. In other words, all the pipes and the power station and everything else, the infrastructure that the website runs on top of. That's unusual for a black site to do that. What's even more unusual for a black site is to actually have some level of sponsorship or any kind of cooperative economic kind of base with other black owned businesses, because black people don't do business with each other. That's old fashioned. It's a concept that's outdated, and we just don't do that anymore. Well, we go against that notion. We believe that our key to survival is being able to work with other black people. And so that's what we try to do. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always our objective. So that was just a reminder. It's an introduction to Mickey, but it was a reminder to the rest of you that that's what we're all about. We're not just about entertainment. We're about doing business. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So without any further ado, let me introduce our guest. Our guest is the wonderful star of stage, screen, and television and music, Records, Miss Mickey Howard. So, Mickey, I know that that intro did not do you justice. Why don't you give the audience your, I don't know, 30-second, 45-second introduction of yourself to them? Not that they don't already know who you are, but just give it to them from your perspective as opposed to anybody else's perspective. And of course, we can't hear her.
Why
Mr.
not? What
Producer?
happened?
Okay,
Now?
it's the produce. It's the producer's fault.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you now, Mickey. I think.
Okay. I'm Miki Howard. I'm a performing artist. I've been performing 45 years professionally. Um, I'm a grandmom, a mom, a fantastic woman. I enjoy hobbies like knitting, crocheting, and I love to make music.
Perfect. 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 So I understand that you have a new recording out.
Yes. Uh-huh.
You want to tell us a little bit about that new recording?
Yeah, I have a new record. It's a single that from the forthcoming album entitled Mija, meaning sister, uh, in Native American and Latino language. Um, it is a tribute to Abby Lincoln, who I am a major fan of her music, and she's one of our civil rights leaders from the 60s and 50s. Um, the song is entitled Throw It Away, and I think it's something that we all need to hear. It's about give your love and give your life and to love. And if you need anything, don't be afraid to ask for it. And if you have something that someone else needs, don't be afraid to give it.
Okay. Okay. Abby Lincoln was she was the wife of Max Roach, right?
Yes,
And and she's the co-star of one of the best black movies that I've ever seen called Nothing But a Man. Did you ever see Nothing But a Man?
absolutely. And I love For the Love of Ivy too.
And Love of Ivy too. Yes, Sidney Poitier. So, but you've been in a few movies yourself, haven't you, Mickey?
Yes, Poetic
Tell us.
Justice and Malcolm X. And then I have my own movie that was made about me. Um, but yeah, I've been involved in the film world a little bit.
A little bit. No, not just a little bit. You played Billie Holiday in Malcolm X, right? And
Yes,
then
what a
Poetic Justice. I've seen that movie about 3 or 4 times, and I just watched it again on cable TV a few weeks ago. That's really very, I've forgotten how good that movie was actually. Um,
good job, Singleton.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So I mean those you know those are some pretty impressive credits. Um, are you looking forward to doing any more film roles in the future? Do you have anything coming up, or is there anything that
Yeah,
you
I'm working
any
on
role that you'd like to play?
writing. I've written a wonderful screenplay with my friends Lettucey and her husband Ron, who is actually a fabulous screenplay playwright and a photographer. I just love them. So yeah, we're working on film now because it's so difficult to show business is not like it used to be in terms of music for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. So, can you expound on that a little bit? What do you mean when you say show business is not what it used to be? I mean, what are
Well,
there
I
any
mean, artists
specific
are getting,
issues?
yeah, we don't get paid, for making records, and now that there's so much streaming and stuff like that, we really don't, um, you know, sell a lot of records. You can't rely on your record sales. And then there's so many of us. We always complain, they're not listening, this and that, but there's so many of us. There used to be, people that were genuinely artists were rare, and they still are. But now they've given machines and things like that to enhance people's voice. And we had to really look good, we had to really sound good, we had to really be able to dance. And now you can get 60 to 80% of that enhanced. So the talent, the genuine talent is very small. But the people that want to be in show business and want to rob show business and rape show business are just making leaps and bounds. So the genuinely talented make very little money.
Hmm. I remember I was watching remember the Arsenio Hall show?
Yeah.
I was watching Arsenio Hall one night, and he had on as his guest Marlon Jackson. And so Marlon came out there and he did his song. I don't remember the name of the song, but that's not really germane. It was he came out and did his song, and as he did his song, he was singing and dancing. And so when he got done, Arsenio walked over to the stage where he was at, and he says, "You know what? I really wanted to have Marlon on here because I only have people on my show that can really sing and dance." And Marlon Jackson, I'm here to tell you, Marlon Jackson, he was actually singing and dancing at the same time. And so I wanted to make sure I had him on my show. There's a lot of artists that want to get on my show that you will see in their music videos that they're singing and dancing. But when you go to see them live, they can't sing and dance at the same time. They're just not able to do it. And so what you see on the music video is, it's pre-recorded and spliced together and, altered and everything else. And some of those artists, and then he goes like Madonna. I refuse to have Madonna on my show because, she can't actually sing and dance at the same time. I started cracking up when he said all of that. But I guess that's part of what you're talking about also is that, you know, some of these people that are out here
That's
today,
not what I'm. That
okay,
is not. No,
I
at
stand
least you can
corrected.
sing and you can dance. I mean, it's really difficult to sing and dance. I mean, you can go back far as Fred Astaire, Judy Garland, and all those days. Even they would record the record and then dance
Hmm.
to it on the film. And they didn't have to necessarily go out and do whole shows of singing and dancing for 2 hours. You know,
Hmm.
so sometimes a lot of the artists that are great dancers, like Janet Jackson, like you know. The Sierras, and you can't sing and dance like that. You can't. So they do pre-record some things. That doesn't diminish their talent. I'm talking about these people who. I mean, I am not saying anything bad, because you must respect success, because success takes a certain amount of talent in itself. But when you held people up and say you are a vocal talent, you are a dancing talent, you are a writing, and they're not. They're not. They've been enhanced by computers and things like that. And that's kind of, it takes away from the real artist, because we really do suffer for our craft.
Okay, okay. See, you just messed up my whole segue because I was going to segue from Marlon Jackson into, the Jacksons in general because your name has been associated with the Jacksons over the years, and I just wanted to quickly have you just give us your view on the Jackson family. The people in the audience, but you don't know this, but Mr. Joe Jackson was a good friend of mine before he passed away, and you know, just talk about your relationship with him, your relationship with them, and does it still continue today?
Well, I don't understand why people don't believe what they see.
Hmm.
You see a family of 13 children or whatever it is, and they are fabulous people. They're talented people.
Hmm.
They I know people that have 2 and 3 kids that don't accomplish what these parents accomplished with these children. And they were good people. They were good to people, good to kids around them. You have that many children, certainly you have twice as many, because the house is going to be filled with their friends. And Mrs. Catherine was a Jehovah's Witness, and I was a Jehovah's Witness, and Joseph was like one of my very first managers. And the confidence and the fact that I never had to go through anything. I went through things and had moments of just little small hardships. But I never had to have that, because they were always there with their doors open and giving love, and they loved my children. And I knew these people for years and years and years, and I will never say a derogatory word about any one of them. Not that I am privy to say anything. And I take it as a privilege, and I am really geeked that I knew these people and that I knew Joseph. He was really a wonderful person, and he did a good job with his life and his family. And that's all you can say about them.
Amen. Because when I talk to people about Joe Jackson, they always start off talking about he's a child abuser, he's this, he's that, he's all of this, and I'm like, wait a second, time out. I'm gonna tell you something. His brother was he was straight up with me, and he was very supportive of what I was trying to do, in Soul Patrol, and he brought me out to Las Vegas and introduced me to a whole bunch of people out there, and really took me under his wing, and really gave me some great advice over a period of time. I mean, you can't say nothing bad to me about Joe Jackson. And
Joe
I interviewed. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
came a light again. He you know, would look over and he hears something about me bad going on. One time he showed up in Jersey City. I was living in Jersey City, and he heard whatever, Rick this and that. He came down there, it's like, take your behind home and get yourself together. I don't want to hear it. If you need something, come to the house. Come stay in Vegas, whatever. You are, couldn't stand to see anything happen to me, because he knew me since a child.
Hmm.
I couldn't stand to hear anything. Showed up again before he passed away. I had no idea that he was gonna pick me up, and he came to Chicago. I was going to a Melba Moore birthday party, and I didn't have any idea. They said we're gonna send a limo and everything, and I came out to get in the car, and Joseph was in the car. I want to lay eyes on you. Yeah, there you are. I was like, but the things that good people do, are never talked about. They like to talk about bad stuff. I don't know anything bad about those people. I only know they were wonderfully good to me and my children.
I'll tell you. Here's a quickie. But first of all, anytime Mr. Jackson will come to New Jersey, because I was living in New Jersey at that time too. So it's funny you mentioned Jersey City. But anytime he came to New Jersey, he would always call me up and say, "Hey, Bob, come on over here. We getting ready to do this in Jersey City or in Asbury Park or wherever he was." And I would come over and you know first class treatment, the whole nine. Just like I was part of the family and everything. And one time he called me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, "Man, I want you to come over. We're over here in Asbury Park, and want you to come over here for breakfast." So I got in the car and drove over to Asbury Park, got there, and he said, "Well, we're going to this diner." So when he said "we," it was a whole entourage of like 20 people. It wasn't just me. It was like 20 people. And so he tells us as we get out the because he had a couple of vans. Everybody rode over there in these vans, and he says, "Don't anybody order. You tell me what you want to eat, and I'll order for everybody." And so, I told him what I wanted, and so did everybody else. And then we sat down. And so he didn't write any of this down. He memorized everybody's order, and he told the waitress what he wanted. And then after he told the waitress what he wanted, he told the waitress to bring the manager over. And so when the manager came over there, he told the manager, he said, "Well, I just got through ordering 20 breakfasts for all these people. How much of a discount are we going to get on these 20 breakfasts? Because you usually don't have people coming in here ordering 20 breakfasts." So the guy started laughing. He said, "Well, I can give you I can give you three of them for free." And he said, "Good, because if you couldn't give me anything for free, I was going to walk out of here." And so after he got through doing this, I asked him. I said, "Well, Mr. J, that was pretty impressive." And he said, "Well, Bob, you don't understand. I've been ordering for big groups of people for a long time, and I know how to get stuff done, and so that it gets done efficiently and economically." And so I told him because one of the things about Mike and I that the people in the audience notice, we're by trade we're both technologists. He's an engineer and I'm a project manager, and so I said, "Mr. J, those are the kind of skills that a good project manager has." And he says, "Well, whatever you want to call it, I don't care what you call it, but this is how I run the ship." It was amazing to just watch him do stuff like that and handle people and all of that stuff. But like you're saying, people want to focus on all of this bad stuff that I never saw happen. I never saw any of it happen. And I even asked him about it. I asked him about it on tape. I said, well, people say you're a child abuser. What do you got to say about that?" And he said, "Well, Bob, when you did something bad, when you were a kid and you did something bad, what'd your parents do? Did they spank you?" I said, "Of course they spanked me." I said, "Well, that's what I did with my kids too. And guess what?
Man
Ain't
had
none of them."
7 boys, right? 7, 8 boys.
he said,
Under
he said,
seven
ain't none of them
boys.
turned into drug addicts. Ain't none of them joined no street gangs. Ain't none of them become criminals. That's because they got spankings when they were supposed to get spankings.
They
Anyhow,
love and respect their father. I don't care what they say. I love those people. They're wonderful, and more. There should be more fathers like him. Next subject.
yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about how does we get into this topic a lot on Soul Patrol. What is it that we should call our music? And is it even important that we give it a name? And if it does have a name, can it have more than one name? And,
That
because
question is too heavy for me. That's too heavy for me. I only can I do soul music. That's all I know. I don't
okay,
like now I'm having to say jazz and I'm a jazz artist because you were R&B artist. It's like listen, youth carries the things of youth. You know, youth. Love. Your body is craving to have to procreate. All those things that are in your youth, you express, right? And then you go into your mature age, and I just don't feel like Baby Be Mine at 62. I've grown past that. At 29 and 27 and 30 and 31, all of that because you're looking for your mate. and you're singing about your life. It's the soul music, the music of my life. And then, I move on to sing about more mature things. And because you are mature, you don't have those fast high notes and flurries and things, and you take your time and you milk words. Words mean more, and lyrics mean more, and you emote. You've learned how to twist notes and things like that. So the music becomes more mature, and then it's called jazz. Okay. When
Hmm.
really it's all soul music, music of your soul, music that you feel, music that moves you. I love all kind of music. I like music that makes me laugh. I used to do comedy records with Rick Dees. Remember he made Disco Duck
Hmm.
years and years ago. Yeah, I think music should do all of that. And like you call it emotion, sadness, or you call it happiness. That's all it is. That's all it is. People
Okay.
put stamps and labels on things so they know where to get paid. How everything is
So
about money.
so then when these stamps and labels, how have these stamps and labels, these different stamps and labels, how have they impacted your career and your ability to get out there in the marketplace the way that you want to get out there in the marketplace? Have any of these labels limited what you've been able to do, or have they expanded what you're able to do, or just how has have these things impacted you?
I was listen. I don't think now so much, but in the beginning, we wanted to cross over because that's where your money was, and selling lots of records wasn't doing pop. There was a difference in pop and urban. And I was considered way too soulful to cross over, and then crossing over cost so much money, stuff like that. That the old days, whatever, the old days. Um, I was impaired in terms of that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my grandson is calling me. Call me back, Justice. I'm on a podcast. Call me back. I'm sorry about that. I thought I had it turned on.
It's okay.
Okay.
How old is Chester?
Justice is
Oh, Justice. I'm
9.
sorry.
Yeah, he's 9.
9. Okay. Okay.
He probably just wants to get some more Fortnite. Yeah,
So
those titles and stuff, they affected me in those days, because we wanted to be, we wanted to be the best. You wanted to cross over. You wanted, but I don't care anymore. I just want to make sure that there's some more footprints for the next generation to follow in that wants to do this kind of music, which I like to call soul music.
no, that's a good answer. You know, they Ray Charles was once asked this question, and he said, "I don't know what any of those terms mean. First of all, I didn't name any of this, and none of the artists that I know of named any of this. Other people named this, so I don't know what they're talking about half of the time. I just do what I do." So that was his response. And I've talked to many artists over the years about this point. Like what's the difference between R&B and soul? How does blues fit in? How does jazz fit in? What about crossing over into the pop music marketplace? And their response is similar to what you just said. Those labels have more to do with marketing categories and demographics, and ultimately who you can sell to. And if that becomes a limiting factor, then you can call my music whatever you want to call it. I worry about it from the perspective of 50 years from now, are black people even going to have a culture that they can call their own if we keep letting other people define what our culture is supposed to be? And maybe that is too heavy a discussion for this
Not that,
discussion, but
that I can discuss.
okay.
That, yeah, our culture is amazing. It's been diluted. Um, uh, um, and it's we've been divided. You know, we came here from different tribes, and then it's just like telling German and Chinese that you're the same. You know, just because we're all melanated, so we're supposed to be the same, and we're not. We're all from different cultures. If you, for instance, deal with the people out in New Orleans, it's a different culture than the Chicagoans. If you deal with I mean, that's all the way around with everybody, but the black culture in particular is different everywhere you go. If you go in the South, what they deem like Mississippi, Arkansas, what they deem is absolutely normal and stuff, we don't do it in a lot of the like in California. The African American culture is totally different, and it's almost like we're a bunch of different tribes. And there are some of us that are so unintelligent, uneducated, have been drinking lead in the water for generations, have are handicapped in so many ways, and it's because of the environment. And we thrust these people into the same category as the people that have been educated, that have lived a different lifestyle, and we say we're all black and we're all the same culture, and we are not. A lot of the things that if you go into the projects used to be in the 60s and 70s, whatever, you go into the project, you might find a couple families that's just there struggling, you know, and going to work and doing whatever. But now, you know, they tore the Cabrini Greens down or whatever. Everybody scattered like roaches. Everybody made it. All of these things happen, and now you have a culture of unintelligent, uneducated, ignorant black people, and you lump them in the same category with people that have given their life's blood to get their families up out of the mire. And until we get help for those people, then these people are not gonna go anywhere either, because we're all lumped in the same toolbox, and
So
we
how
don't even enjoy the same music.
so how do you suppose that happened, Mickey? I mean, Mike and I, we grew up in the projects, you know,
No,
sleeping
no,
in
it's not
bunk
that. It's
beds.
not. Listen, I went to the project. My cousin lived
Hmm.
in the Cabrini Green. It was the best place to be. It was wonderful. There were musicians. There wasn't just dope dealers. There was musicians.
Hmm.
There were poets. There were people walking around in their African stuff. They only talk about, like, you know, the shooters or whatever. Yeah, there were a couple some drug dealers, and it got overrun by the people that sell the drugs, that do the this, that do the bad things. The people that they were poisoned. They were poisoned, and then you say, why don't they have an IQ? What is the IQ doing? And you give them tests, and they haven't been to school, and even if they went to school, they need special education, and they're not getting it. And we keep ignoring it and acting like it's not happening, but it's happening. It's happening. Those are who are killing each other. Those people are the ones we all generally whatever kill each other, whatever. But you have a group of people that have been miseducated, uneducated, poisoned by the water, poisoned by their food. They're constantly eating food that has colored dyes that are prohibited. Red dye number 3 and all these things, Skittles, and I ain't talking about nobody brand, don't come for me. But all of this stuff is contributing to their mental health, and they're not mentally healthy. They're not. And we're not helping them.
So that was all very profound. Um, how would you propose that we try to help those people?
I do my part. I do my
Hmm.
part. You know, I sing and I bring joy and I go wherever they are, and my ticket prices are minimal. I do jobs nobody else would do, because I want them to believe in themselves and know that the culture, even if I only come to point A or point B, you can get here, and from here you may go somewhere else. You may be the next. Whitney and whatever, and I work with people around me. I don't like when people do this. Instead of like reaching out, they reach around. Instead of reaching out to your neighbor or somebody that you know who's having trouble with their kid or something, maybe they don't have enough money to feed them the way they want to. I help. I help. I'm surrounded by young people that didn't believe in their stuff, and especially young men. And I'm not. And people try to think, oh, I'm a cradle robber. Back in the day, 40s or something like that. Yeah, I dated younger men. I don't date anybody. I'm 100% celibate. I'm 100%. My life is dedicated to sharing love and showing people that love is available to you, and love cures a lot. That's my part. That's what I know how to do. I know how to go into different cities and states and countries and shake a hand, make a friend, share my love, and give encouragement that you can live another day. And that's the seed. And when that seed starts to grow, somebody else has to water it. That might be you or whoever saying, we're continuing to perpetuate our culture, our music, our language, a real language, and not this stuff that I don't even know what they're talking about. That goes to every generation of it. It's like, the way that, it's it, the kids, the young people need us, 40 and under. They need us. They don't have any guidance. They can't believe in nothing. It's like when you live here and next door to them is a gangbanger, and next door to that is a house where they know they get the dope, and next door to that might be somebody that drives a bus. So when did they learn? Even if your whole household is on dope, somebody else, you could come out of it. How do they learn that? When do they get water that doesn't poison their mind where they cannot think? I can only do my part. I was
Now,
stifled
well,
when I was blackballed, quote unquote, kicked out of business, whatever. It didn't just damage me; it damaged our culture. I am a takeoff all the way from Ethel Waters, through Lena Horne, through Billie Holiday, through Dinah Washington, through, you understand? When they cut me off, they cut that off. When they put Whitney up on a pedestal and kicked her off of it, they cut that off. Do you understand what I'm saying? And just to the fact that I'm still here, God has opened up doors. You asked me earlier. You mentioned about how did they make a movie about somebody that was so obscure, because I'm not obscure. I'm not obscure. I was never like at a situation. I've done this my entire life. I've never had to go get a job doing anything else. People came to see me, whether I was down or up or in a play or didn't sound good or where. I appreciate my fans, our culture came to see me. I started to work again from Facebook. Where have you been? I want to book you, da, 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 and so on and so forth. And now I'm here, uh, and I know my purpose. And so I'm plugged into it. And my purpose is to give love, give encouragement, and let people know that love is alive. And you are too. And that should be your goal, to live in and through and about love,
well,
which is God.
that that was a very, very, very passionate and comprehensive and a little bit unexpected response to my question. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that alone, and instead of instead instead of instead of being hypnotized by what you're saying, what I want to do is now pivot slightly, and we got some questions from our audience. And so, what I want to do is throw a few of these at you, and so they don't think that we're ignoring them. So, we talked about Joe Jackson already. Um, who who are some of the the up and coming um, young singers. This is coming from someone named Robert Newman. Up and coming young singers that we should watch out for, in your opinion.
Oh, so many. There's so many. We got Cal Marshall, who's one of my proteges. Of course, my daughter, Caitlin Howard. Shaka's daughter, Indira Khan. You've got Sir Tony Walk. Oh my gosh. Let me think. Oh my goodness. We've got Suzanne Christine. We've got Brittany Shantae. The list goes on and on. You should also look up independent artists, the singers group, and things like that. It's so many. So many.
Okay. Okay. Um, Lee Jacobson um, from Hawaii, from Honolulu, says, "Can you share your experiences with Billy Preston, the keyboard virtuoso, vocalist, and the person?"
Well, how does he know I even knew Billy Preston? I was a very small child, and Billy Preston played with my mom and then the caravans, at the church. He was 19 years old that I can remember, and just used to come around. That's all I know. I didn't really have a lot, but I did sing in his sister's choir, Rodina. Ooh, turn off the potatoes. Uh, Regina Preston and the Voices of Deliverance. That's I didn't have any musical experience. He would give me bubble gum and stuff like that. That's it.
Okay. Um, Tommy Chappelle, one of my homeboys, he's asking a question, but I think you already answered it. He wanted to get some more insight into your forthcoming album. Um, let's see, you answered that one already. Um, Henry, he says he wants to know how's your music and your style and your craft, which I think you already answered. But if you haven't, you can go ahead and add some more to that.
Along with me, there was a point in my life I had to learn to sing again. It was almost like I had a musical stroke.
Okay.
I couldn't. I just couldn't. I was devastated. Um, it was actually PT, post traumatic stress syndrome, and I really couldn't. I just couldn't. And I had to learn to sing again and love the music again and like that. And so now I really more paint pictures now. I have many more colors to use in my vocal ability than I did before.
Okay. Um, let's see. Let me pivot away from these questions. I have another question, and actually, it's a series of questions. I call this the lightning round, and what I want you to do is answer these questions with the first thing that comes in your head. There is no right
Are you
answer. There
sure?
is no wrong
Are
answer.
you sure?
All right, and
Okay.
just don't think. We used to have this saying, that if you think long, you think wrong. So don't even think about. Just give me the first thing that comes
Okay,
out of your head.
fine.
So you
Let's
so
go.
you ready? Okay. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Waffles. Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Boxers. LeBron or Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Well, she's from Chicago. All right. Michael Jackson or Prince?
Michael Jackson.
Okay. Etta James or Mavis Staples?
Mavis Staples.
Mavis Staples. Fords or Chevys?
For
Fords. Okay. Don Cornelius or Dick Clark?
Don Cornelius. But I
Okay.
really love Dick. I really love Dick Clark.
Did you ever
Okay, that's
appear on American?
yes, I did. It's on YouTube.
You are okay. I'll have to look for that. So, what was your experience? That's the
It was so super great. I love that man. They were good to me. Invite me to his house. He sent me a cake with when I was nominated for American Music Award. He sent me a beautiful big cake with the
Mm.
nomination on there. It was so cool. He was very nice to me. He really was. I and unfortunately he died. You know, like during
Well,
like right after during that time. But I loved him and his wife. Very
well,
nice to me.
I'm as you know, I'm in Delaware, right outside of Philadelphia. So I do a lot of stuff in Philly, and I've met a lot of people over the years that were involved with Dick Clark when he first started American Bandstand. You know, a lot of people don't know that American Bandstand started in Philadelphia, and we actually have done. Soul Patrol has actually done some events at what were the old TV studios of American Bandstand, and you know the building is now used for something completely different, but they still have the studio and the whole setup where people danced and where Dick Clark had his podium and all of that stuff is still there. And that was a cool place to have a party because
I know it must have. That
yeah, it
sounds
was very
amazing.
cool. It was a very
Are you
cool
coming to see
thing.
me in Philadelphia City Winery?
When are you coming, or did you already come?
I'm coming November 26th.
Well, if you invite me, I'll come.
I'm inviting you.
Yeah.
November 26th. I'll give you a ticket and
Feb-
everything.
okay, then I'll come if I can bring
I'll
my
order.
wife.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. Um, back to my list. Don Cornelius or Dick Clark. Okay, we did that one. Barry White or Isaac Hayes?
Barry White.
Barry White. Did you know Barry White?
Yes, I toured with him once.
Okay.
Very, very lovely man.
That's what I've been told. I never met Barry White, but I've known some people over the years that were tight with Barry White, and they said that about him also. Isaac Hayes, I got to know when he was doing radio in New York City. He was on. Believe it or not, Isaac Hayes was the morning man on WBLS for about 10 years. So
Fabulous.
we all got to know something a little bit more about Isaac Hayes over the years in New York, other than Shaft. Um, butter or margarine?
Butter.
Okay. Beer or wine?
Beer.
West Coast or East Coast?
East Coast. Ba-da-da-do-do. Okay, sorry.
East Coast. Okay, you sure about that now? You're in
Uh-huh.
Los Angeles. Okay, okay. And the last one I have, and obviously I could go on with these forever. Um, Ice Cube versus Ice T.
Ice Cube, baby.
Okay.
4 5 mother.
All right. Um, well, Ice Cube is well. First of all, I do not believe that Ice T actually needs financial help to do car repairs. So I don't believe that. Or, but Ice Cube is like a real funketeer, and so
Yeah, he is.
I, I
No,
can relate
no,
to Ice
no,
Cube.
no, no, no. No, 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 no. I used to love that song. I used to play it loud in my car.
That's right. Ice Cube's
That's one of my
version of Bop Gun
first rap
is
songs that I ever bought.
as good as Funkadelics, if you ask me. Um,
He had them on. He had real Funkadelics on there too. On his
he had
records.
a couple. He had a couple of them. By the way, speaking of funk music, I was listening to somebody sent me a link today. A person, a gentleman by the name of Carlton J. Smith, a good friend of ours, sent me a link to a version of "Thank You for Talking to Me, Africa" that you did, and I
Oh
listened to that.
yeah,
I listened to that, and I'm like, that is off the chain. That
James
is
band.
off the chain. Oh yeah, oh
Rick
yeah.
James band on there. You know that's Rick James band on "Come Share My Love" too, and
Oh no,
"Imagination" along with the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. Well,
oh no, I
his
didn't
band
know
played a
that.
lot of stuff, but you could never tell because they were really great musicians. Rick James was really a great musician, but he did do the funk. But he was like he could play Duke Ellington and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, we used to connect on that level. But he really was a fine musician that just wanted to go like funky.
No, I've heard stuff. I heard stuff that Rick James did up in when before he became Rick James, if you will, when he was up in
Right.
Canada doing like rock music,
Yeah,
with
I remember he was
Neil
in
Young,
there.
you know. So he was, and
Very
I also think, and this kind of gets back to your point that you made a little earlier about some of us being really misunderstood, really being victims. When he first got out of prison, he did a show over here in Atlantic City, and in between each song, he really talked about his life and his experiences and everything else. And when that show was over with, I was almost in tears. I said, this is somebody that we think we know, but we really don't know. And he opened
yeah.
himself up, and I was just very impressed. And so he became one of my favorite artists. In fact, one of my favorite albums of the '90s is that album that he came out with right after he got out of prison called Urban Rhapsody, which didn't get any airplay on the radio, but it was a really really good album. But it was very different. It wasn't wasn't Rick James, Mr. Funketeer. It was like another side of Rick James, and so
Right. Yeah, yeah. He didn't get into his full fruition, because like I said, when you're young, it's one feeling. It's the boom, boom, pow. I wanna have sex. I wanna kiss you. I wanna hug you. That's pretty much all we have to talk about. Marry me, love me, have me a baby. Then you grow up and you mature, and then it becomes things like love is wonderful, and I love sharing my life with my family, and uh, um, you know, other things like let's take a trip to Paris. You know what I mean?
so the producer is reminding me that there's 9 minutes left. Got two more questions from the audience from two of my favorite ladies. One is from Miss Tanya Rogers Myers, and she wants to know, who do you listen to during your me time?
I listen to Charlie Parker with Strings, India
Hmm.
Ari, The
Hmm.
Emotions, especially the song "Blessed." I listen to sometimes my daughter because it makes me feel good. Yeah, I listen to Abby Lincoln. I listen to oh my god, what's my girl? Etta Jones. I listen
Hmm.
to Etta Jones. I love Etta Jones' voice. I mean, yeah. So yeah,
Okay. And by the way, Tanya is from Philadelphia, um, and she's had the pleasure of working with me in the past. And now we're going to go all the way across the country to Las Vegas, but formerly of San Diego and formerly of Ohio, Miss Carrie Bonner, who also had the pleasure of working with me many years ago. Um, she said that she went to go see you in Redondo Beach, and you were with Johnny Guitar Watson. and she said that's the best concert she's ever been to. Do you remember that show by any chance, or is that just something that
I
just
don't.
faded into your
Like,
memory?
oh, it was a place called the Redondo Beach. It was concerts by the sea. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. So, what was it
Really?
like to what was it like to share the bill with Johnny Guitar Watson?
Well, I don't even remember performing. I only remember him. I remember like coming out. I only remember him. And those were like really young days too. And performing then was almost like drinking water. It was so easy. It was just like no problem, whatever. So I don't, I remember him. I just loved Johnny Guitar Watson. It was the thrill of my life. And he died shortly after that. Like I never really him again, anything like that. I really loved him.
There's a
He
great
was
concert. There's a great concert out on YouTube. Johnny Guitar Watson on a TV show out of Germany. His band. You talk about somebody with a smoking band. He had a smoking band. Johnny Guitar
it was
Watson.
like that. I came up in that era. I mean, and that's what I expected. And then,
Hmm.
they went through this thing. They took the music out to schools and blah blah. And then you don't need an instrument; you just need a piano. It's slowly coming back, but not necessarily among the African or American children or the black children. Among the other ethnicities, all of them, from Italian to Jewish to Caucasian, all of them. Okay, are doing music and jazz and have instruments are in bands, except for our children. Except for our children. And
So
that was
what's
one
the
of the things
solution?
that saved us, man.
What's the solution? How do we fix that? You
We
know.
have to put music back in our communities. People say put it back in the schools. Do you remember when you were a kid, you could walk down the street and there were speakers spewing music out all over the hood? That's one of the how you knew you were in the hood. Nowadays, you know you're in the hood because you see Martin Luther King Drive. But used to be like in Newark, they still do it. That's why I love it. Outside the shops, they playing music, man. Music. You gotta play it. You can't just put it on an iPod and put it in your ear. Turn it on. Now, if you turn on your music, your neighbor is talking, oh, your music is loud. You should say, yeah, you want to join me? Play yours loud too. Play the music. It's healing. It's one of the most healing things on earth. Learn the music. Pick up a horn. Find a little piano. Go to the pawn shop and buy some sort of instrument. Play a harmonica. That's what you have to do. We have to. My grandfather gave me a harmonica. Great grandfather, not even my grandfather. My great grandfather gave me a harmonica.
We
So
are
all of these,
we have 1 minute left. That was a great point. We could end on that, but I'm gonna give you a chance to end on something else that you might end on, Mickey.
play Mickey Howard music, especially look out for the new Miha record. It's sister, sister to sister love for men, sister love for each other, sister love. And I'm not a queen. I'm not a queen. I'm your sister. I'm here to administer sister things, not queenie things. That's someone
Ooh.
else. I'm sister.
So what's your website? Real fast.
Mickey Howard. What's that? It Mickey Howard Media is my web, and then Mickey that Mikithat on Instagram. Follow me. I talk back with you, whatever. I love everybody. I hope you come see me whenever I'm in your neighborhood or anywhere near you. We have a really good spiritual time. God comes on in there. I mean, I ain't talking like I ain't no church God Christ, nothing like that. I'm talking about the spirit of God that is here to talk to your heart on all levels, like on the levels of love, peace, and soul. Everybody,
And that's it. Give me my outro music, Mr. Producer. Thank you, Mickey.